Oscar BEVIS, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by Ricky Digger Summers in the MTK bubble here in Bolton. How are you, mate?
Good. Nice to meet you, Oscar. Like you say, first interview with yourself, so good to get on air with you, mate.
No, it's a pleasure. I can't seem to escape the Midland boys at the moment. I was in the bubble with Danny Ball, Zach Parker and Lennox. I've been speaking to Kane recently. And now another one. It's a good time for Midlands boxing, isn't it? You seem to have just flung yourself out there over the last couple of years, you boys.
That's it. And it's all from our gym as well, the BCB stable. So we're flying at the minute. Len's one of my best mates outside of boxing as well. So seeing him in that British and Commonwealth, I was over the moon for him. Zach Parker, another great fighter, done many rounds in his camp. Little Kane, little Mexican, go and fight anybody, another good lad. Yeah, all the lads in flying.
Well, before we talk about what's next for you and potentially how you could sort of join that successful crew over the last year or so, I want to take you back to 2019. You said that's when we'd last spoke to you before you fought Lawrence up in Newcastle. It's been a while. I know you were disappointed with that performance. Just a little recap from yourself, Ricky.
I was very disappointed. I expected a bit of a fight. Lawrence was a top amateur, and he just come in, he just negative. He just like punching and hold, and just never got flowing. But I only had 4 or 5 weeks notice for that fight and cut a lot of weight. Obviously, I've been mandatory for this English title. I'm in good shape. There'll be no excuses this time. But that fight wore me in there. Cut too much weight too soon, and even though I got the draw, I felt like I'd won because I was always pressing the fight. I know the commentary was the own fighter if you watch the fight back, but it's just one of them fights. I've never watched the fight, to be honest, properly because
Is that because you thought it was just like a boring fight to watch? No offence, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, I've come out of spars with a little bruise eye, here and there, but I've come out of that fight fresh as a daisy. Not even when you get up the next morning, you're aching a bit, or even aching. It was like I hadn't even boxed, but that's in the past now, and yeah.
I just wanted to recap that because obviously it's been a while since you've been in the ring. I know you've been in the ring once since. You got a stoppage win over a good kid as well on paper. Don't really get stopped.
You don't get stopped, but from that fight I was that disappointed, and obviously because I hadn't been in the gym, I had a bit of spill out. I had 4 or 5 weeks now to fight Lawrence. Boxed him, and I said to my manager, I said, I want to keep active, and then we got the stoppage. Good win, and then we hit the pandemic, so put an halt to things. But in 2020, we got offered fights, and we took them, and the just day plan out to be, with other opponents getting injured and stuff. So been in the gym since 2019, training well under Paul and Errol, my new trainers, and I'm feeling great.
I heard a little birdie told me that one of the fights you were offered, and I think you took as well in 2020, was Craig Richards, am I right?
Yeah, that was one of the.
So you would have fought for, was this previous to him fighting Shakan?
Yeah.
So not for the British title, this was previous?
Yeah, previous. Yeah, it was a previous fight before he fought Shakan, but then he got a shoulder injury, and then he went on and beat Shakan, so, fair play to him.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that announced ever? It wasn't, was it, you and Craig?
It never got announced.
No.
It was like, it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the actual show. Things was going on behind the scenes. Obviously, I were allowed to announce it. And then, manager phoned me and says, he's done his shoulder, or he's having shoulder problems. And I was like, I was gutty because I was in good nick then. And, it's one of them. It happens a lot.
Look, that's all in the past. We're here now. Bolton, you and Dan. A good card, and if I may say so, you don't really take a backward step. Dan likes to try and blitz through people. You and him is going to be an absolute banger.
Yeah, he can, and I can also box as well. But I think he's going to catch fire this one. And I don't want to jinx it, like the Lawrence Zwaki fight. But it could be fight of the night. You just never know. There's some good fights on the card, some great fights on the card. So it's going to be a great show.
It's obviously gone swimmingly for Dan so far, 12 wins, 8 of them by knockout. When you've watched him, what have you sort of made of Dan as a fighter? You don't have to go in too much. I don't know if he's going to watch this when I'll put it up later anyway, but any sort of positives and negatives you take from Dan?
Obviously, there's a lot of positives. He's a good boxer. He seems like a bit of a throwback fighter. He boxes a bit like Hagler, jumps in with his jab, and he's a good all-round boxer. But But obviously he's got negatives. I'm going to say on here, there's things we've been working on and stuff, but every fight's different. Getting there, he could be completely different to his last fight or his fight before. You just don't know. Everybody performs different on the night.
What does this mean? I don't know. What does this gauge sort of for where you're at? Because obviously you have opponents, like mutual opponents, 2 fighters that he's beaten that you didn't, but you fought at British level, which Dan is obviously aiming for. So I don't know, what sort of gauge will this fight tell? Will this tell us who is at British level, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, we're both up there. I'm down in the rankings a bit, through inactivity and stuff. I'm a lot downer than where I think I deserve to be. I'm experienced, and Dan's a good fighter. He's up there. He's beat some good kids. It's just going to be a great fight.
And I know the British, I've heard you say before, the British is sort of a massive goal for you, potentially a vacant British as well. So is a win here much bigger than it might seem, not just because you walk away with the English title, potentially a shot at a vacant British?
I'm just fully concentrated on the English title. It's something that I'd like, and Dan's in front of me, and just got to take care of this fight. You know what I mean? Before I can start looking ahead.
Yeah, and obviously it is a booming heavyweight scene. I do just want to ask you quickly about the man who's going to vacate the British. Obviously, you're potentially going to fight him at one point, and now he's jumping in at world level with Richards-Bivol. Can you just sort of place your hat on how Craig Richards fares against Richards-Bivol?
Richards-Bivol is one of the best in the division. He's got a big ask, but I wish him all the best, and I hope he pulls it off. He's a good lad, Craig. He's got his own attributes. He's big for the weight. He's tall. He's dangly. I think that's why they call him Spider. And he looks like he carries good power. He's got a good chin on him. So you just never know in boxing. And if he's watching this interview later, I wish him all the best, and we'll get that world title, Craig.
Yeah, hopefully he brings or keeps that in Britain when Dimitri travels over. Ricky, thanks. Anything you'd like to add? Obviously, you'd love to have fans here, but I suppose they're going to be tuning in to the screens. And any messages?
Yeah, I just want to say, big shout out to one of my main sponsors, Nigel Porter. He's stuck with me through the thick and thin. He's been a massive help, and big thank you to him. Big thank you to the team, BCB, Errol, Paul. They've got me in great shape, and that's about it, really.